I painted my nails a new color. It's called I Totally Canyon. So that's why I did it, because I'm feeling like I need a little like self-encouragement. Yeah. But it's kind of a fun Thanksgiving color, don't you think? Do you know much about color?
No.
Yeah, that's why you wear black every day. It's a mixture of all the colors, right?
Right. If you can't choose one, go with all of them.
Go with all of them. Maybe I'll get you like a mud brown t-shirt for Christmas.
I won't wear it.
It has to be black.
I just like not having to make a choice.
Yeah.
Because I would just think about what I was going to wear all the
John
time.
wants to be a minimalist, but he just hasn't gotten to the part where you like get rid of everything.
I don't have much. I don't really keep anything that doesn't have value in my life. I guess there's a few pieces of clothing, but I only keep those because you tell me to keep them.
Anyway. Hey guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great.
Not you.
Them. We're not sitting by the table not because we think this is cool, the composition, but it's because
Chloe's in the shot.
Our power went out.
Chloe, our doggy. Yeah,
not
our power
all our
went
power, obviously.
3 outlets went out tonight.
Boom!
It was really just really great. And last week we fixed our HVAC. This house was purchased in July. So yeah, so now we've dealt with the HVAC, and now we have an electrical problem.
Yeah.
But it's super great.
Hashtag new homeowners. And the dog, it feels weird to not have the table when you normally have the table. But then the dog feels like she can come bother us. 'Cause she's like, why are you guys sitting in the middle of the living room? This means it's time to play.
So we are Trust Me, and we're glad that you're listening. We hope that you trust us and listen to what we have to say. Right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Trust us.
Trust Me.
Right, trust me. Oh, hi, welcome to Trust Me.
No, Trust Me.
I'm John, and
I'm Alexis.
This is a weekly podcast where we talk about building trust, transparency, and long-lasting relationships in a fast-paced world. I don't have the horn.
It was too late. It's not really working for anyone. We weren't going to film tonight because we literally do have like a bunch of real life stuff going on, which everyone does. Sometimes life feels manageable and you're like, I got this. And other times you're like, holy shit, like I don't have this. And that's kind of how I felt the past few days.
Like you don't have it?
Yeah, like I don't have it.
Yeah.
But you don't really have an option other than to just keep going. So that's why we decided to podcast, even though I've lost my mind a couple of times in the past 48 hours.
Yeah.
We were like, we just got to do it anyway. Back to work tomorrow, but we love to podcast and we like to talk, like share, struggles and things that's going on in our lives and in our relationship. And I mean, it's worth it, right?
Right. And we believe in what we're doing. And there's the old adage of, Alexis hates when I say this when she's very mad. But you go to the job you hate every day. So if you're trying to do something for yourself.
I don't hate my job. I really don't hate my job. I just, for the record, everyone and you, I don't hate my job. I might complain about it because it's very stressful. I work in a very fast-paced office for a physician. And I have clients and full books and lots of people with lots of expectations. And it's very fast-paced.
Yeah.
So, and I care. I have integrity. I mean, I care about my clients' skin. I take care of people's skin.
That's why you're great.
And so it can be very taxing and stressful. And everyone comes in and they bring their energy in, and can be really good. It also can be like, how life is hard. It can be, hard energy to deal with sometimes. And I absorb that. Yeah.
So I guess the thing that'd be more true for you is that when you work for someone else, you always show up no matter what.
Yeah.
So when you're working for yourself, you should treat it the same way.
Yeah.
Make a schedule and stick to it.
Yeah. So we're doing the podcast. We wanted to talk this week. really just about like what's been going on in our lives. Also kind of piggybacking off of what we discussed last week, TikTok, and basically like how do you parent in this world of, you know, social media and the digital age that we're in? How do you like trust your kids? And you certainly can't trust strangers. I mean, right?
Right.
On the internet.
Yeah.
So like, how do we navigate that? And we talked about that last week. And I think even whether or not you're a parent, I think the information that we shared about TikTok, and we're going to talk about a little bit about YouTube today and like a personal story that we had happen to us this week. I think that it's so relevant because this is a sign of the times. Like we are like changing every day and evolving. And with these restrictions being put on in order to protect children, being put on like these social media apps, I think it just shows, okay, wow, it's almost like it evolved before we could like even understand it or attempt to control it, I guess, you know, because we're just now putting like certain, I don't know, restrictions and safety features on social media apps in regards to like protecting our children.
Yeah. Well, they say it takes 10,000 years for biological evolutionary traits to develop. Right? And
is that why you still look like a Neanderthal?
Yeah. I didn't realize I was setting myself up for that. But agrarian society, people talk about all the time. We're anxious all the time because we're basically these like monkey wandering people. Now we're like,
we weren't at the top of the food chain at one point in our evolution. Like we were in fact like in the middle of the food chain. So we still had predators like coming after us.
Yeah.
At all hours of the day.
But now we're just chilling, and
now we're at the top of the food chain.
You know, predators live in places like Tinder.
Yeah. Ugh. TikTok.
Churches. Not Church's Chicken.
It's horrible.
Well, also Church's Chicken.
I don't know anything about that, but maybe is there a story? So I don't know. It is interesting. So I think it's relevant whether or not you are a parent because it's just times they are a changing.
Times.
So this week, that's a Bob Dylan song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he write that song?
I think so. I think Bob Dylan has written 90% of every song that's ever existed.
Yeah, he's a brilliant lyricist, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think his lyrics are great.
I do too.
So anyway, this week, like yesterday, I felt so horrible. I just had like the worst day. Felt like shit the whole day. And it was dreary outside. We're here in Indiana, central Indiana. It's like we're entering winter season. It was like cloudy all day, drizzly at some point, 30 some degrees. Like, is it freezing? Is it not? Like all day. And I felt so depressed. And we had an incident occur, which we'd like to talk about, not in great detail, because it does involve our children. But I think it's important to discuss. And if anyone's listening, this is like the world we live in. And it's just scary and it makes me sad. But my daughter, we have a friend who has a kid, Olivia, and my daughter and his son's age. And they're all around like 10 years old. And they get along great. And we love this kid. And he has a group of friends, boys. And he, like, in a very cute way, looped Olivia into a group message with, like, 10 other boys. And they all started, like, talking in this group message. And then one boy in particular, and Olivia, my daughter, doesn't know any of these children because they go to different schools. And so one of the boys was like, hey, I want to talk to Olivia. Let me talk to Olivia. And I found out about this later, of course. And then he started texting her separately. And he asked her where she lived. And, you know, we've talked about this with the kids before, like not to ever share that information with a stranger that you don't know in person, like if it's not your friend that you met at school or something. But she ended up telling him in this text message, and we didn't know about it until she had like come to the dinner table and she's like, oh, this boy in this group message, he started texting me separately, and he told me that I was pretty, and he asked me all these questions about myself, and we were like, what boy? What? And we came to find out that this boy doesn't live here in Indiana. He lives in another state. And so I just like went straight to like Crime Junkie podcasts, like all the scary stories that I've read and heard. And John did too, which were like these creeps that act like they're, 10 years old, and they like, prey upon children. Everyone's heard a story. It's terrifying. And so I like kind of flipped out, but I was like trying to stay calm, trying to explain to them.
You didn't flip out externally.
No. Yeah. I stayed calm and discussed with both of the kids the importance of understanding that there are bad people in the world. And we've had these conversations with them before, but this one felt more real. And I kind of went into like greater detail than I have about other, about other stories or in other situations. And it was really, I don't know, it just was scary. I feel like
it sounded like the beginning of all the stories we've all heard about when something terrible happens to a kid and they go missing.
Yeah, totally.
Like everything she was saying was something I've heard said on like the Crime Junkie podcast or something else. Crime Junkie is the last story we listened to about a girl. I will say that I think this happens a lot less now than it did years ago because the internet's been around long enough that most people see these tricks coming a mile away. I still think 10-year-olds don't, which is why they don't have social media. We were just talking about them not having a data plan, so they can have constant access to the matrix. Yeah. Yeah. We go back and forth about, I think they shouldn't have like TikTok or any access to anything, mostly, I guess. And you're the school of thought, which I agree with as well. But I don't think they're age ready for it yet. But the school of thought was like, if you need to give them the things, then observe and watch how they act and teach them how to interact with the world.
Because and it's weird because like Malachi, your son, loves Fortnite. Yeah. And he interacts with people and strangers all the time on the internet. Yeah. And then we kind of reached this like place of like double standard where like, are we okay with Kai meeting internet friends but not Olivia? And it's like, that just is so sad to me. Yeah. And I don't really know how to navigate it besides just like cutting them off. Yeah. But then I know what you were approaching and saying, John, which is that how I feel. It's like every girl that I knew whose parents were very strict in high school, like wild out in college. Yeah. And later in high school, and like seriously made really bad choices. And I'm like, I don't want to, it's like, I want to regulate and monitor, but I don't want to completely like just take away all access because then they're going to sneak access. Yeah. Undoubtedly, right? For sure. And I don't know. I just want to be able to answer questions. Like I felt good that Olivia felt comfortable enough to come to me and tell me, that this boy was like texting her. Well, to finish that story, she came and I told them everything and we went into detail and I think I kind of scared them a little bit just about like strangers and the internet and all this stuff. And I was like, bring me your phone because I just want to see what this boy is saying, And so she took a little bit of time, brought the phone back, and sat down and said, I have something to tell you, Mom. And she's like, I tried to delete the part where I told him where I lived because you just told me that's really bad, and I ended up deleting more messages. So she like admitted that she was like hiding. And
did she delete the entire message thread?
Yeah, she accidentally, I think, or she deleted parts of it. There were more messages today, so I don't know.
I think she deleted the whole thread, yeah.
So then I was like, thank you so much for telling me the truth. Like, I was really thankful for that. And then John and I kind of got into an argument after because he was like, are you going to punish her? And then I felt really conflicted on whether or not there should be consequences because I don't want to deter her in the future from telling me the truth about something. And so yesterday was just like horrible. And really like the biggest reason I feel like is just how scary the world is and how much access the kids and our children just, everywhere can like learn about how shitty the world is so much sooner if you just let them click around on the internet for 5 minutes.
Yeah. You can also, it's a double-edged sword. They learn about things that are nefarious and perverted and gross and just horrible, and they have much more access to that. But on the counter, our kids are like going to grow up in a world where there's like 60% of the jobs that are going to be around when they're 18 and 19 don't even exist yet, because there's just a wealth of like new opportunities, because you can communicate on a global scale instantly.
No, of course. It's good. The internet's great.
So,
I mean, I'm just saying what we were kind of saying when we started out is that it's evolved so quickly that we don't even have
right.
What we're going to talk. I want to share what like YouTube is rolling out. You brought to my attention here in a second. But it's like, there are definitely good things about it, but it's like, we're just now putting like strict rules into place to like try to protect our children, it seems like.
I honestly don't think any amount of rules can make the internet safe for kids from predators, because the more you secure, we talked about this last week and I firmly believe it, the more you secure a place and the more you can make it kid only, the more ideal that place becomes to pedophiles. And unless you're going to like take babies' thumbprints and put it onto the device, and then that's the only people that can access it, you're going to create a world where pedophiles are cutting off babies' thumbs so they can access other babies.
It's very
That's
interesting,
a very dark
John.
thing that I just said.
Thank you.
But you're saying, hey, pedophiles, this is the place where all the kids are.
No, I understand. It's like a target, but there have always been targets, right? Any place where kids are playing on a playground, that's
not
where
a place where
pedophiles
kids are by themselves without anyone observing.
That's why I think that parents should be observing.
Right.
I think that children need to learn the dangers, and there should be like every parent should be discussing with their kid probably before the age of 10 about the fact in great detail, like we've discussed with our kids before, but I don't know that they really processed it. This kid, by the way, ended up being fine. Like I investigated and like not fine. He also sent some like kind of inappropriate texts as a 10-year-old to my 10-year-old. And so we're like going to cut that off. We're not ready for all that. But he's a kid, a child.
I thought you were going to say he's a jolly good fellow.
No, he's a jolly good fellow.
I swear to God, I was like, that's what she said.
He's a fine kid, I'm sure. It's just like, whoa, we are like 10 years old, Seems, I don't know. It's just a lot. If any of you parents listening, it's like so crazy to watch your kid turn into like a young adult. Yeah. So, but like we talked about last week with TikTok, I mean, like they were just sued by the Federal Trade Commission because they were mining or like, putting children under the age of 13 at risk, like their privacy was being encroached upon. And now YouTube just recently paid, how much was it? They settled, YouTube reached a settlement of $170 million with the Federal Trade Commission for violating children's privacy. So per COPA, which is Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, like a kid under 13, like you cannot mine any of their information. Like you can't get if they're a boy or a girl, like you can't try to figure out what their gender is or what their likes are, where they live, any of that, any demographics, nothing. It's illegal. So YouTube was just fined $170 million. Yeah.
It's a big deal in the No Small Creator group that I'm in. Mm-hmm. People are like, well, this and that. There's a lot of confusion about it amongst the creative community.
Well, so with YouTube, is now, because of this, I would imagine, I read that yes, this does have a big part of why they're implementing this new regulation. But YouTube, starting in January of 2020, is rolling out this it's planned to have creators label any videos of theirs that may appeal to children. Yeah. So you have to label. If you are going to appeal to children, you have to label it as such. And then, if that's the case, the comment section goes away. you can't, no data, like all the data collection will be blocked for all viewers. So
Yeah.
that takes away like a lot of like ad revenue. And there are a few other features that will be disabled.
You can't do links like at the end of the video, or if you're like, hey, click up here to see that video, and the eye pops up, you can't have those.
Which is huge because there are like all those YouTubers that do like the gift reveals and stuff, or the like the toy reviews or whatever, and they like literally target kids.
Right.
And so
you can still do all that stuff. You
but
can't,
you can't have
a click through button to the next video.
and you can't have ads. Like they're not going to be like ads can't be popped up to be like directed at your child.
Yeah.
Like, and there are no comments, so like no interacting, you know. So I mean, it'll change.
You can still advertise to kids using that method.
No, from what I read, there's like the ad revenue change. The ad revenue, of course, changes, but the ads themselves change. You can't have like ads directed at the kids.
If it's child friendly. Mm-hmm. I want to read that because you can still.
That's why I sent you that link.
Yeah.
So just because it's like a lot of new information. I don't use YouTube as much as John does. So, but yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's huge. And it makes sense because I don't know. I feel like if we are influencing the young population, I mean, which, you know, marketing and ad campaigns have for years, but it's like, what are we teaching our children? And then also, if there have been instances where we're like obtaining information on children younger than 13, like what? It just...
So it says targeted ads, and just from the way this reads in the sentence, the most obvious is the removal of targeted ads, but a number of other YouTube features are also impossible without personalized data. So that means you can't do a pre-rolled ad, meaning if someone's watching nothing but like SpongeBob SquarePants videos, and then all of a sudden all the ads that pop up before a video are SpongeBob SquarePants, that is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you cannot have a video where you're getting paid $1 million by SpongeBob SquarePants. Be like, it's amazing. It's the most amazing thing ever. Tell your parents, steal their credit cards.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Targeted means like pre-rolled ads.
Totally. That makes sense. So I misspoke a little bit.
No,
but
it's all good. You didn't know.
Yeah. So that makes sense. But it's still kind of what we were getting at, which is like, it can't be like, you know, specifically directed at the child.
Right.
Which it's like, their little brains are like so...
Yeah.
Well,
it's the same.
And like
targeted
easily
ads.
Influenced.
Yeah, targeted ads have existed since television.
Yeah.
On Nickelodeon,
since any sort of mass media, basically. Yeah.
On
since
Nickelodeon,
newspapers.
Well, yeah, and Nickelodeon, they don't have car commercials, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, even since newspapers, like in the women's section or whatever, they would have ads for like vacuum cleaners and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yes, but like at children. Like, I think that's why they're trying to get away from it a little bit. Like, it just doesn't seem fair. Yeah. It doesn't seem like fair play.
Right. Are you proposing, do you think that Nickelodeon should not have any commercials?
I don't know that Nickelodeon is even still a thing.
It is.
But doesn't everyone stream it? People watch it still.
Maybe, right? Then you have your own commercials that pop up. But then you just put commercials in your video.
Yeah.
Right? Like product placement.
Yeah.
Which is everywhere else.
Yeah,
Marketing,
I don't know. I just know that the Federal Trade Commission, it is. I just know the Federal Trade Commission is like cracking down on like TikTok, YouTube, because of the main reason, just mining information about minors.
Right.
So.
And specifically whenever it's like a foreign affair. Mm-hmm. Probably because they're like, we want to collect the data on our kids. We don't want the
China.
Chinese doing it, right?
Yeah,
we're trying to rig elections over here.
And I have to be honest, I didn't read like extensively on this new YouTube thing because I just heard about it, like just before we started podcasting. Yeah. So I don't know if there have been instances of like child safety on YouTube, or like if there are reasons like, you know, having to do with predators that YouTube is being cracked down upon. I don't know. I know with TikTok there was.
Right. So with YouTube, I heard a TED Talk, and it was like from 2 years ago, but it was about targeted. The premise was that AI is like this thing that everyone thinks that robots are going to come kill us, and it's going to be like Terminator. But the guy's hypothesis was that AI doesn't have to be that smart to take over the human race, because it's already happening with YouTube, because people are figuring out like the surprise egg videos. Did Olivia ever watch those?
I don't know.
You take an egg and you open it, and whatever's in it, boom. And this plays off like a dopamine hits and sensors, and it creates this like endless infinite loop of like addiction, basically.
You mean like Instagram and everything else does for us?
Right, but for kids.
Yeah.
So people are creating videos to bump themselves up in the algorithm because you get ad revenue. Well, then people started figuring out that you could just make generated videos. Like you didn't even have to like have a camera and all this stuff. You can just like make pre-rolled videos that feed into the algorithm and get the kids sucked into the loop. But when you do things like autoplay, if you're not on kids YouTube, like they were showing like the degrees of separation is like 4 to 5 degrees away from like SpongeBob SquarePants parody porn. Right? Because people are sick and weird.
What is wrong with this? It's like go to Pornhub or something.
Yeah.
Like why?
Because people sit around and have nothing better to do than to fuck with the world that fucks with them. Right?
God, we need more therapists.
And I guess if you were going to be this like anarchist that was like trying to prove a point and be the Punisher, I can almost see the romanticized vision of I'm going to sit and the parents that don't watch their kids, their punishment is that the kids get sucked into this like anarchistic like world of like filth and porn.
And like, oh man, that's horrible.
I think people that usually are sitting in caves like that end up writing a manifesto.
Oh God, okay. Really?
Where did I get what?
Oh, nothing. Just wondering where you have come up with that.
Watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And watching that TED Talk.
No, I mean.
Oh, the romanticized version.
Yes. Just thinking about the horrible people, like people that have done horrible things, like.
I'm just thinking about
what their manifestos have said.
Well, someone that wanted to be a vigilante and wanted to like.
We've been watching Watchmen on HBO.
Yeah.
I feel like that's totally where this is coming from. Yeah.
I was just.
You kind of look like a character. Wait. Now you look like a character from Watchmen. That's just pretty badass, by the way.
We're going to get copyright infringement on YouTube now. This is not kid friendly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so yeah, you get fined. And they're not going after YouTube. They're going after creators on YouTube. So like your personal channel, you are like subject to like being like fines, massive fines, and like lawsuits.
Yeah. What you were saying about the fines being on the creators, people in the community that I've been reading about, and I think most of these people are completely insane. And if you've decided to listen and you're in this group,
I was like, man,
and you've made it this far, sorry, but most of them are crazy.
You're
people.
probably the sane one if you're listening.
Yeah. That says a lot about our audience. I love you and the support you have for them. People are like, it's YouTube's way of passing the buck on to creators, and it's like, well. They made this amazing thing for you, fuckface, that's free.
Yeah,
you get to distribute your shit for no cost.
Yeah.
All you have to do is press upload, and you can put up whatever you've made. God forbid there's rules and regulations to keep kids safe, and you have to pay the fine if you're a fucking idiot. Mm-hmm. It's like, stop bitching.
I love that you don't cuss the whole time, but then you just cuss like 20 times.
Yeah. Well,
You're really passionate about this.
Yeah. I went Gary Vee. I watched a Gary Vee video today, and now I'm like, I have to cuss to make points.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, if you want it, then get it.
Gary Vee's cool. I like Gary Vee, but like, he's a lot.
It's not good to listen to if you're sad.
He's a lot, man.
Yeah.
So I mean.
That's not true. I don't know why I said that.
I don't either. But like, parenting requires a lot of trust, and also our situation is pretty unique because we're both step parents and parents in the same household. Like I have a daughter, he has a son, so it is extra challenging at times, and it requires a lot of trust, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard when your kid lies to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
it's fine.
It like
kids
creates
lie.
they do. Everyone lies. It's human nature to lie, whether it's a white lie or whatever. You
People
know what I mean?
that aren't liars.
Were you just taking a poop in the bathroom? No.
Yeah.
I was not. Did you fart? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do those things. I do not poop or fart, so I don't ever have to lie about it. But I mean, a lot of people do.
What
feel
percentage
like...
of the time when I ask you if you're farting, Are you actually farting?
That is a really hard percentage to come up with.
I've wanted to ask you if you're farting this whole time, but I think it's the dog.
Oh, jeez. Thanks. It really... It's got to be you. You're the one that ate that frozen pizza at 1 a.m. last night.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't remember?
I remember.
Oh.
It was delicious.
Oh.
There's a few pockets throughout the pizza that like actually had sauce on it.
John always grills the pizza. So
Smoke the pizza.
Oh, he smokes it on the smoker.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Then to punish himself today, I've been doing intermittent fasting, so I don't eat past 8 and I don't eat until noon the next day. And I've been doing this for like 6 months. But now John is on this kick like today. I think this is Watchmen too. I don't know, influenced. But he's like, I ate that pizza at 1 a.m. I'm not going to eat until dinner. And then he like punished himself and he didn't eat literally all day until dinner.
I was passed out by midnight.
That's true. Speaking of. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening.
Before we go, I want to say the thing we had said we started doing earlier. I don't know why I'm being all vague. We were fighting yesterday, and whenever you're in the middle of something, and it's especially if it's bad and you're experiencing trauma, it seems like there's no way out. And when you get in it, you start thinking, I've always been here, and this is what it's always like. We had a moment where you were saying, I feel like we fight a lot. And I was like, I don't think we do. You were way more mad than I was. I was actually not mad at all. Like, I felt very sad because you were upset.
There was definitely a point where you were mad.
For a second, yes. I got angry about the punishment situation. But I wasn't mad. Like, I wasn't, like, when you were mad at me the whole day, I wasn't mad. There's been plenty of times where I've been mad for long periods of time. And I'm a petty cunt and I'm very insecure. But you had said, I think we fight all the time, this is how it always is, and that's how it seems when you're in a bad situation. What we're doing is, I said, you should just mark down on the calendar whenever we fight and have these like dark moments, and then we'll like take an actual like toll and get an actual number on it, get an actual reading. Like, are we actually fighting a bigger percentage of the time than we're not fighting? And if we are, that's a problem. But we're being vulnerable and honest. And I don't know what the word is in Spanish because I stopped doing Duolingo. But you wrote down the Spanish word.
Luchar. Luchar is to fight.
Luchar.
Luchar.
So on our shared calendar that we came up with this week, it says lucha,
which is fight.
On the days where she is thinking about kicking me out of the house that she pays for. But I don't know if I would encourage you to do this because we just started doing it.
We'll just keep you all posted.
We'll keep you all posted.
If you don't hear another podcast, then you'll know how it goes.
But it really does. When you're in it and it's bad, you're like, this is just how it always is, and it's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if when it's good, you allowed that to rise. You're like, it is like ecstasy right now. It's always like that.
Cool.
But most people don't do that when they're happy. Not like, this is amazing. It's always going to be like this.
I think
Life is so good.
gratitude helps you be like, I think it's about contentment more than like, and if you're going to think of it, I guess, through the Buddhist philosophy, life is suffering. You just kind of accept what is. So you're never really that high or that low.
Right.
Which that isn't necessarily how I work, and I haven't reached that point. I mean, there are some times where I feel like, okay, I'm like excited about this, or I'm feeling sad about this, and it doesn't really, I guess dip too high or too low. But like yesterday, I felt really, really low.
Yeah.
Like it felt really bad. But a lot of it's just because I was scared, and I react. I mean, everyone reacts probably pretty negatively to fear, I would imagine, but sometimes it gets really dark when I'm scared.
Well, to be fair, we experienced a lot of trauma in that situation with Olivia, and she's my stepdaughter, and I don't have like the first gut instinct that a parent has, so I can't imagine what you felt, but like I was terrified sitting there hearing that, and I felt helpless, I felt scared. And then you felt however you felt.
And then you picked a fight with me.
And I picked a fight with her. But my son has had like trauma in his life, and he had brought up that situation on top of that.
Yeah.
So it was like.
It was really intense.
Oh, that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So. But.
And we'd already had an argument revolving around the kids, and then that came full circle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot. It was like, it would have been a lot just on a normal day, but then the normal amount of stress, like, got like this like huge heaping like quadruple pile of stress on top of it.
Yeah. Well, this week is Thanksgiving, so no more stress because everyone knows the holidays are the time of zero stress.
Yeah.
So, but for real though, like,
Can't wait to go to my family's house
just-
and not get judged all day.
yeah. Just talk your stuff through. I think that's key. Like if you're having a problem, or you're feeling insecure, you're feeling like you don't trust, or you're feeling sad or something, then just talk about it.
Yeah. And
Talk about it.
Life is just like series of experiments is what I read from a guy I like today.
Cool.
So that being said, like, I have a scientific approach. Like, we're documenting us working through things, and I think it's made us better. I don't know.
Yeah.
It forces
I don't know.
us to like.
I think
talking,
so. Yeah. The podcast. Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
what you're referring to? I
Yeah,
thought you were talking
yeah.
about Lucha in our calendar.
And then I was gonna say and
well,
Lucha.
yeah,
That's
so
also.
we don't know though because we just started that. But
Right.
the podcast, yeah, so far
But
has
it is
been
an
awesome.
experiment, and
So,
it's
but we're super
documented.
grateful for you all for listening. And if you have any questions or you want us to talk about something, as always, please get at us. John knows all the information.
Yeah, trustmethepodcast at gmail.com. If you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you know us in real life. So text one of us, call one of us, or trustmethepodcast at gmail.com. If you type in Trust Me the Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, will pop up.
So yeah, but we appreciate you guys listening and supporting us. We appreciate your support.
Or watching us.
So thank you.
Thank
you guys
you.
have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah.